This is Istanbul, the only city on earth that stands astride two worlds, a colossal, unblinking sentinel between Europe and Asia. Its history is not merely a record, it is a tapestry woven from the chaos of continents, held together by the swift, powerful current of the Bosphorus Strait. This vital waterway connects the Black Sea to the Mediterranean, a constant, dominant force that shapes global trade, political ambition, and the very flow of history. But what if this mightiest of currents, this unchangeable artery of the world, was not a natural, stable force at all? What if it was merely a function of a secret, ancient power waiting to be unleashed? Professor Arif Kalkan was a cartographer of the obsolete. He was a man obsessed not with modern satellite data, but with the meticulous marginalia and the lost details of 16th century mapmaking. For 2 decades, he pursued the ghost of the Divan map, a stunning nautical chart created by an anonymous artist for Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. Officially, the map was a masterpiece of Ottoman art. Arif knew it was something far darker. He knew it was a cipher, a secret operating manual for a machine of unthinkable power. The key to cracking the cipher lay in its exquisite border decorations, arcane astrological symbols, and fragmented geometric patterns that referenced a forgotten science, the science of terrestrial current manipulation. The anomaly began as a scientific whisper. For 8 months, the powerful southward current of the Bosphorus had been weakening, not randomly, but in a series of sharp, coordinated pulsations. Massive shipping tankers reported strange navigational glitches near the Maiden's Tower, their systems registering impossible directional flows, often contradicting the physics of the tide. The consequences were staggering. Global trade became bottlenecked, insurance premiums soared, and the tension between coastal nations escalated. The world blamed climate change or underwater seismic shifts. Arif knew the truth. The weakening current was the direct, slow result of the map's activation. Arif finally cracked the cipher. The Divan map was not a record of the strait, it was a schematic for a vast, submerged Ottoman-era temporal anchor. Sultan Suleiman, weary of reliance on fickle sea routes, had commissioned the device to harness the colossal geothermal energy beneath Istanbul. The machine's true function was to possess the ultimate geopolitical weapon, the ability to instantly reverse the flow of the Bosphorus. This action would not only cripple naval access and commerce, but, according to the cipher, would generate a temporal instability that could make localized history run backwards. The map held the controls. The Maiden's Tower held the key to the machine's power source. The stakes were no longer historical, they were existential. Arif's discovery instantly drew the unwelcome attention of 2 powerful entities. First was the formidable Selin Demir, a cold, hyper-efficient agent within Turkish naval intelligence. Her orders were to secure the Divan map and stabilize the waterway at any cost, viewing Arif as a dangerous academic who had stumbled into a deep national security threat. Selin saw only the present chaos. Arif saw the historical menace. Their initial confrontation, deep within the humid, forgotten archives of the Topkapi Palace Library, was a tense exchange of historical passion versus military protocol. Selin demanded the map, but Arif knew that turning it over to the government would mean its immediate weaponization, fulfilling the Sultan's original dark vision. The second and far more dangerous entity was the Order of the Compass, a shadowy consortium of international finance leaders and trading magnates. They were using the weakening Bosphorus current as market leverage, shorting European energy contracts and artificially inflating the price of strategic goods blocked by the traffic jam. They weren't interested in the geopolitical power of the map. They were interested in its monetized chaos. They had acquired a secondary Ottoman relic, a brass navigational astrolabe, which they were using to amplify the map's weakening effect, pushing the strait towards a full, catastrophic reversal. The geopolitical crisis escalated from a blockade to an international incident. Global trade routes fractured, pushing major economies toward recession. Arif realized the map he held was not the true power source. It was merely the remote control, the intricate console panel. The real mechanism, the massive temporal anchor, was hidden beneath the Maiden's Tower, that small, beautiful structure isolated in the middle of the Bosphorus. It was built by the Ottomans not as a simple lighthouse, but as a stabilizing pole and a conduit for the temporal energies harnessed by the map. The final instruction on the Divan map, the most dangerous cipher of all, revealed the hidden nautical chart showing the precise location of the anchor beneath the tower's sublevels. The terrifying realization was that the order of the compass had the power to fully reverse the current through the astrolabe alone, but they needed the Maiden's Tower to stabilize the resulting temporal instability for their profits. The cartographer had to reach the tower, not just to fight the order, but to prevent the historical paradox from consuming Istanbul. He had to convince Céline Demir that the naval intelligence was only seeing the surface of the threat. The deeper reality was the city's timeline itself. The trust was fragile, built only on the shared, desperate knowledge that time was literally running out for the world's most vital waterway. They escaped the palace archives, pursued by agents of the Order of the Compass, racing against the slow, agonizing reversal of the Bosphorus current itself. Arif and Céline, now a desperate, mismatched alliance, raced across the city, the stakes higher than any geopolitical incident. They commandeered a small, unmarked naval patrol boat, the engines screaming as they sped towards the Maiden's Tower. The current around the tower was already erratic, churning with unnatural, slow-motion power. Their instruments, a mix of old naval technology and Arif's esoteric cartographic equipment, screamed warnings. The spatial and temporal distortion field generated by the struggling temporal anchor caused the sea to spin wildly, making navigation almost impossible. Céline's military training kept them on course, while Arif's knowledge of the ancient flow patterns guided them through the chaos. The Order of the Compass agents were already inside the tower, having infiltrated it under the guise of an emergency maintenance crew. They were not common thugs, they were highly trained corporate mercenaries, funded by the limitless wealth of the commodity markets. Their ultimate weapon was the Ottoman astrolabe, which they were using to flood the temporal anchor with maximum geothermal power, violently forcing the current to reverse. Their goal was now absolute, the complete reversal, ensuring a massive financial windfall that would bankrupt entire nations. The danger was immense. If the Bosphorus reversed completely, the historical paradox would be triggered. Treaties would be broken, coastal ecosystems would collapse, and the very foundation of history, including the existence of Constantinople and the modern Turkish state, would be rendered moot. The paradox was seconds away. Inside the sublevel of the tower, the atmosphere was thick with ozone and the scent of heated brass. Arif, guided by the cipher's final sequence, saw the temporal anchor. It was the core of the ancient machine, a massive pulsing crystal encased in 16th century gold and brass, vibrating violently. The Order's agents were feeding it raw energy. Water outside the tower was now audibly churning backwards, the sound a low, earth-shaking rumble that resonated in their chests. This was not a current, this was an active temporal distortion. The Maiden's Tower, a symbol of constancy, was now the epicenter of temporal chaos. The cartographer knew he could not destroy the anchor. The ensuing chaotic release of energy would shatter the timeline. He had to use the final, hidden sequence in the Divan map, a set of complex, forgotten Ottoman symbols, to force the temporal anchor into a state of neutral equilibrium. He wasn't stopping the control, he was locking it, making the current permanent and stable, sacrificing the ancient power to control the strait, to save the city from temporal chaos. The Order's agents launched their final assault, determined to complete the reversal before Arif could complete his complex, arcane sequence. The fight was not against men, but against the relentless pressure of history itself. The climax reached its peak. Arif worked desperately on the console, his fingers flying across the ancient Ottoman brass symbols, inputting the complex sequence. He was a historian fighting a war using cartography and forgotten knowledge. The Order's agents fought Celine, who, despite being outnumbered, used her tactical training to secure the chamber. She was fighting to protect the present.
Arif was fighting to protect the past. Arif completed the final sequence. He wasn't relying on technology. He was relying on the elegant, forgotten engineering of the 16th century. The anchor's massive crystal surged with a final blinding light, then settled into a low, steady hum. The frantic, reversing waters outside settled. The geothermal energy was neutralized, locked into a perpetual state of balance. The current of the Bosphorus returned to its normal southward flow. The world was saved, not by fighting history, but by anchoring it. The divine map had executed its final command, stability. Arif and Celine emerged from the Maiden's Tower, battered but victorious. The Bosphorus flowed placidly. The city was safe. The geopolitical crisis was averted. The Order of the Compass's agents secured, their astrolabe confiscated. The Divan map, the instrument of power, was sealed and placed under the deepest Turkish military lock. The truth about the current and the terrifying potential of reversing time was hidden once more. Arif exchanged the power of chaos for the stability of truth. The official report blamed the crisis on a sudden localized magnetic field anomaly and a massive failure of obsolete naval equipment. The Order of the Compass was exposed for massive market manipulation, their temporal ambitions hidden by layers of financial crimes. Celine was promoted, but carried the secret knowledge of the temporal anchor. Arif returned to his obscure archives, a hero known only to a handful of agents, but forever bonded with Celine by the silent pact to protect the secret of the strait. He was a chronicler who not only studied history, but saved it. The Bosphorus still flows, but now only Arif and Celine know that its constancy is not a law of nature, but a result of a conscious historical choice. The reality you live in is merely the winning timeline, but the echoes of the others still whisper. If you felt the pull of this chronicle, don't let the mystery end here. To access the Istanbul Chronicler's dossier, containing the theories, locations, and the full account of the Divan map and the temporal anchor, click the free download link in the description below. This is your key to the winning timeline. If you wish to follow the whispers further, hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to ensure you don't miss the next chapter. The next truth awaits beneath the futuristic elegance of Australia's most iconic landmark. Our next chronicle will reveal the biologist exposed the truth about Sydney, the opera house that whispers the future. The chronicles have already begun their journey. Discover the secrets hidden in the vaults beneath London, the deep history of Cairo, the strange whispers of New Orleans, and the mysteries of Paris, Rome, Venice, Edinburgh, Tokyo, New York, and Berlin. Find all our chapters in the dedicated playlist link provided in the description. The world is waiting to be uncovered.